Hey HCDA and welcome back to Mindustry. We are in the last 3 levels of the Serpulo campaign and I'm going to go for Planetary Launch Terminal first. Why? Because that's actually the only one that I have left that is going to unlock something in the technology tree, and considering it has something to do, at least I'm assuming it has something to do with the landing pad or the launching pads, maybe it's an upgraded version, I don't know, but I'm excited, so I want that. Let's dive into this level and see if we can actually make it. This is going to be, I think, the first level that is on eradication threat level. So I'm expecting a very much uphill battle. Okay then, here we go. I am very afraid for this level. But hey, look, we actually start out with a little base. Resources, all the stuff. And that also holds for this base. Oh my god, this is a very large base. Let's see, what is over here on this island? An interplanetary accelerator. I have no idea what that is. I'm guessing it is supplying fuel. It's at least it seems to be it's actually receiving a lot of stuff. Uh, okay, we have 6 minutes to build up our stuff. That is okay, I guess. Um, Can we get through here with naval units? Yes, we can. Okay, so that is interesting. We're going to be attacked from over here, although that might be a while because this seems to be another one of those kind of like Ericir type of levels. Okay, there's like 5 million turrets. That's clear. Yes. Okay. How far in can I get with naval units? Pretty far, actually. I should be able to reach this core with my naval units if I focus on those. Is there anything else? Oh my god, there is so much stuff here. They're going to be spewing units all over the place. What is this base going to do? This base is going to be producing tier 3 units? Yes, and some tier 2 units, okay. What else? What else? What else? What is this? This is just kind of like a little outpost. Okay. So there's bridges here. Okay. Interesting. Oh, there's actually something over here as well. This is a force reactor. This is not an actual base, so I don't need to deal with this. Okay, well, we definitely have our work cut out for us. We have a core over here. Let's see, this is one core. The second core was over here, somewhere there. I only see one core here, I think. Yeah. No cores over here. No. Is there a core on this island? I don't think there is, actually. I mean, there's a whole bunch of meltdowns and specters on this island. But no core. So I think, at least that's what I'm assuming, that kind of like the winning formula to this level is going to be naval units, because it seems like it can destroy pretty much everything with naval units, but I am going to also have to be able to defend myself, I think. Well, at the very least, this level is going to give me an excuse to try out my Omuras. These were recommended by several of you in the comments as being the best unit in the game. And yeah, it's not hard to tell why. I mean, these are basically foreshadows with a ridiculous range that can target everything. And on top of that, these things are going to be producing their own small fleet of air units. Now, these flares, I honestly don't think are going to be that impactful. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's 3 units, so sure. But yeah, just park these things outside the base and see the base fall to pieces. I think that's pretty much it. The main problem is going to be to actually build those things before we get wiped out. Now, we do have 6 minutes, and 6 minutes is quite a long time. That said, we don't have that much resources here, actually. That's interesting. We do have plenty of space to build, so that's not a problem. I'm not sure what these things are supposed to do, but we'll just keep them around. I mean, they're not really in the way considering how much space we have to build. I do want to make sure that I spit out my units in the proper place. I think I can still go like this, and then maybe like Okay, let me figure out how I'm going to reconstruct my base so I can actually produce those tier 5 units. Okay, so something like this. The problem is I built this in a very inefficient order, so I'm actually going to restart the level, also rebuild this starting layout to kind of attune it to what I have set up over here. I don't need this exponential reconstructor over here, for example. It just gets in the way. I don't think I can attach this one from the get-go, but since I need to build it, I also need to make sure I actually start building naval units from the get-go. I have some of the Vela production still queued up here, which is of course not going to be useful. All in all, I like the layout, but the setup can be at least a minute faster, probably more. So that is what I'm going to try to do, just to make sure I don't waste another hour playing this level and then lose it anyway. Okay, so I rebooted the level, and what is interesting to note is that none of the ghosts or the old buildings have been remaining anymore, so I'm not sure if that's a difficulty thing, if that is a patch, I don't know, but at least I'm playing fair, so that's something. I loaded up a new type of blueprint, and I set up all my incoming production, all my items coming from all the different zones. Now, I definitely need a little bit more power because I am skimming at the edges of what I actually need. And then I should be able to add in the tier 4 and tier 5 production along with the cryogen, and then we should be good to go. Okay, there we go. This was about a minute faster, a little bit less than that, but the big difference is that not only do I have everything up and running with, including a little bit of side production in terms of like copper and lead and stuff, I also have already a tier 4 unit in here. So this is ready to start producing. Now the main problem is I'm going to need to load up all of those resources in here first, but that's the only bottleneck that we're facing right now. I am running a little bit low-ish on power once again, so I'm going to have to add in a couple of these generators. Although I could consider maybe this time around working with some spore power. I mean, that is pretty efficient, and I have plenty of water to go around. So yeah, that's probably the better option rather than relying on these RTG generators too much. Mostly because they cost the same resources as I need for my tier 5 units. Okay, so the first enemy attack is incoming. It's just a couple of boats, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. However, my boats are definitely not ready yet. Let's see. I am about 1/3 through building my first tier 5 ship. And yeah, that's actually going to take about a minute or so still. Now, we do have 10 minutes before the enemy air factories activate, so that is nice at least. I think the air factories, however, are over here. Yeah, not sure if there's any other air factories that I'm missing. Yeah, there's some in here as well. Long story short, the air factories are all the way in the back, so not sure if I'm going to be able to do too much about that. I could probably go kind of like through here to try to take out these factories at least, and then try to punch through here and then start working on this naval unit over here, and then see if we can maybe take out the air factories. But honestly, the air factories is probably the last thing on the list. If I've defeated those, I have probably already won the level. Now, I am going to utilize some of these specters that were over here on the corner already. I'm building one next to that. Hopefully that will be enough to take care of the enemy that is now approaching me. Well, I got my first tier 5 Omura. It's kind of awesome, but at the same time I am struggling to defend myself against these waves that are coming from up here. These are relatively weak waves, but they seem very insistent on trying to hit my weak spot over here, even though I walled this off. So yeah, I had to move up my specters a little bit so I could actually reach them. That seems to be working. However, now I am being attacked on the ground with a pretty extensive force, so I am struggling to get some specters up and running on this side as well. Could probably add in some meltdowns. Well, actually, no, I do need more power for that. Yeah, but I am going to utilize my tier 5 unit for this defense as well. Well, the nice thing about these Omuras is that I can just sit outside of the range of pretty much every single turret in the game, including these ripples, and take them down one by one. Now, it's not really the fastest way of clearing down an enemy base, but I am taking pot shots basically at their defenses. Now, I am going to have to work my way through a lot of those in order to actually get anywhere, But yeah, you know, one step at a time, and we'll get there eventually. Oh man, it's honestly really hard to record anything while doing this, because what I'm basically doing is setting up towers and then giving my two Omorers by now orders to attack something, and then making sure I am actually building the towers. I am repairing things that need to be repaired, looking at where the enemy waves are coming from, and I'm shifting back and forth between those two things like every few seconds, pausing, unpausing, and so on. I'm getting some air units now. I do think that adding in these force shields is vital, just to make sure that those pesky little air units don't get in the way too much, and we're going to get a lot more of those really soon. I decided to initially focus on this factory, because if I can take this one out, this one doesn't actually seem to be doing anything, so then I'm assuming that this means that the next thing that is going to activate is this base. If I can take it out before it becomes a problem, then that is going to be a lot easier than trying to work my way through enemy units that are being non-stop spawned, while also trying to take out the base. Okay, so yeah, I just took out the enemy naval base, or at least the naval production, I should say, and that's the next thing that is going to be activating in 12 minutes. Now, it looks like I'm under heavy attack, but these are just tier 1 units that are trying to shoot down my tier 5 units, so that's not really gonna work for them. I am about to produce my third Omura, and you can definitely notice that you cut through a base a little quicker once you have more than one. So hopefully that is going to be enough to really kind of push through the rest of this level before I get completely overrun, because, well, you can definitely notice the non-stop flow of enemies being a thing. Apparently I lost my ships, and I have no idea what happened. I don't think they should be going down that fast, but they are very much dead. Or at least they're not on the map anymore. I'm not sure what is happening. I was just focusing a little bit on my towers for a moment, and my ships were just doing their thing, attacking, and apparently I gave them the wrong order because they decided to go and kill themselves. I have a feeling they might have gone and tried to sail around this edge of the map without me noticing, and yeah, that is 3 Omuras down, and that means this level is going to take a hell of a lot longer. Oh well, there's the first one back. I did add in a couple more of those cryogen generators to make the construction speed a little faster. I should probably have done that earlier maybe as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to babysit my Amora from now on, and hopefully my base doesn't get overrun while I'm looking the other way. Well, this would have been a lot faster with 5 of them, but my 2 Amoras are now definitely breaking through the enemy's defenses, and I should be able... Oh, there is actually a foreshadow over here, and that has the same range as my own units, and it does a lot of damage, so I do need to be careful, but I should now be able to start working on these naval factories over here. Okay, so I'm still slowly whittling away at the enemy base. I took out a part of the naval facility over here. Now, in order to get over here, I do need to get past this foreshadow, though that's a bit of an issue. But I can actually maneuver around it and take out the facility without getting in the range if I'm careful. But there are also some specters here on the side that I need to take out while I do that. So I am inching forward. I do now have another Amura, so I'm back up to 3. So things are slowly starting to look in my favor. However, we are going to get a a guardian wave at some point as well. And honestly, the waves that are coming over from the enemy base are getting stronger and stronger. And apparently in 10 minutes from now, they're going to get even stronger still. Now, this base isn't really producing much, so it's mostly the other base just spamming ground units at me. These are not really a problem. The waves coming from on the top here are getting more powerful as well. And I can't really defend all that well against that, so I might need to add in a couple more of these turrets over here. But all in all, I am not feeling too bad about how this is going. Okay, apparently we have a Guardian incoming soon, and we also have another escalation of production in 10 minutes. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, is it just that the things are going to spawn more? Because honestly, I've taken out most of the actual production that I can reach for the moment, but I need a lot more army, and I need to basically just stack up my Amoras before I can take on anything else. I am also sort of inclined to maybe switch to a different type of unit. I'm not sure if that makes a lot of difference, honestly. But I was figuring maybe I should take a ground unit of some sort. At the same time, that's probably ridiculous, because if I do anything that flies, it's just going to be shot down. And the approach by land is not much better than it is by sea. So yeah, probably just going to have to stick with the Amuras. Well, it seems like the Guardian Wave is just a whole bunch of big units, and honestly, we've been getting that for a very long time already, so that's not a problem, because those are a lot of very powerful units, but at the same time, I also have quite a few of those myself. So I'm just going to park my Amuras in front of my base for the moment, make sure I defeat those Guardians before I start taking another look at the enemy base. Well, those spiders are really scary, but they seem to be going down sort of smoothly, thanks to a lot of guns firing at them at the same time, as well as my other units. Now, I am wondering what happens if they die on top of my base. Looks like not too much. That's good. There was some damage, but nothing I can't handle. The enemy is funneled through here, and that is that's intentional, by the way. So, yeah. Okay, so that was the Guardian Wave. I think that was the worst over for now. In the meanwhile, I took down the nucleus in this base, so that is one base down and one to go. Honestly, this is actually quite a bit of work considering how many units are in here, but there are not really any units anymore being produced, other than, well, apparently this facility that I kind of didn't see initially is now producing units. So I am going to have to move my Amuras up here. The foreshadows have been taken out. I think there's a couple more, but those are further down the back of the base. So I am going to work my way through here and then towards the nucleus. And I think, oh, there's two foreshadows over here that I'll need to deal with. But other than that, we should be fine. Well, it took a lot of wiggling and shooting and clearing and patience, but it seems that I have taken out all the foreshadows now that were in the way of this nucleus, so I'm hoping I can actually reach it from here, because it seems to be pretty much on the edge of what these Amuras can actually target. But hopefully that is the case, because if my recon or my scouting is correct, this should be the only nucleus that I still have to destroy. And yes, I could actually reach from over here, and now I have captured the last zone. I just got a pop-up that I accidentally clicked away, but apparently this was supposed to be the last level of the campaign. Now, I'm pretty sure I have two more to go, somewhere over here. Procscape and Geothermal Stronghold. So I'm gonna give those a spin to see if they are interesting, but it is quite nice to know that I now officially completed the Serpulo campaign, and well, doing it on eradication difficulty was definitely not easy, but quite a bit of a challenge. And aside from some frustrating parts, definitely fun as well. If you are still here, you're awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next 2 or so, where we're going to finish up those last few levels.